borrowed elements between the two cities of the War for Cybertron and the G1, but I was like, I want to actually incorporate. I was trying to think of a way of trying to incorporate a little bit more of Metroplex's ability to spread out. Welcome everybody back to the Digital Power Workshop. It is I, that 5 o'clock traffic that annoys you, Techno Meow Tinkerer. And as you can see with my background here, it's kind of got a Halloween theme, and I'm going to be doing some Halloween decoration on my videos for the next couple weeks for the month, and I'm going to call it Monstober instead of October, although that is not set in stone. But I figure one of the first things we're going to do, since it is October and monsters are synonymous with Halloween in today's market, is going to cover one of the biggest monsters in the Transformer universe. Now, I'm not talking about Unicron, we're talking about Scorponok. And one reason I went to Scorponok, I'll get into a little later, but he is a monster, and I'm referring to the city Scorponok of the Headmasters, not the Beast Wars. Even the Beast Wars is still cool, I am not in the area where I'm comfortable doing organic style shapes yet. And so we're going to be covering the city. But before I get into this, I want to actually give a shout out to two YouTube channels. The first one I want to give a shout out to is, I think it's MGoes. He does Transformer reviews, and I watched his, he's also known as the Freaking Geek Review, but I watched his review of the G1 Transformer toy. And I also Touch and Toys, I watched their time lapse of this. It's not really a review, but it's just a time lapse of music of the Transformers War for Cybertron Scorponok. And I had referenced those two a lot when I was actually making this blender thing, so I've took elements from those two, but I would like to thank those two because I screenshotted a lot of your videos for references. Without any further ado, let's get into the actual time lapse of me making Scorponok in Blender. Oh yeah, right here what you see is I was actually attempting to make a Decepticon city with some different stuff. That was one of the first things I did when I got Blenders. I was actually trying to make an Autobot and Decepticon city based on a lot of the toys and what they could do. And just, I imported this in, even though I really didn't end up using it a lot. Both the little prefab Scorponok I had originally designed and in the pictures. And part of this was, and I brought them in because I thought I was going to need them. And I did kind of use it, trying to get close to the size. And I already can see with that one block, but it was just trying to figure out how to, because some of the issues I have, and we'll see here in a little bit with the Scorponok, is his city mode is not really that great, I would say. I don't know, maybe it's just me being a bias. I think Metroplex probably has the best city mode of all of the city Transformers, and I think it's partly because his transformation opens up so much. Like, part of his chest becomes a heliport for, I think it's a heliport, that's what you call it, for a helicopter land on. His legs open up into spreading him out even more. Whereas Scorponok, basically, his city mode is him laying on his back, spread wide open with his tail ready for receiving and departing. And I am kind of making a little hint at a joke to that. Not poor hint, at least. But for the most part, I borrowed elements between the two cities of the War for Cybertron and the G1, but I was like, I want to actually incorporate. I was trying to think of a way of trying to incorporate a little bit more of Metroplex's ability to spread out, and that's one reason why on this foot I'm playing around with different blocks and shapes, trying to figure out some stuff. Because really, when you look at his toy, it looks like you're just driving over shipping crates. It's not really city-like. Even with the G1 or the War for Cybertron kind of makes it a road, but it really doesn't look like a road. And the G1, well, those are the problems you had. Did those little opening compartments, and I've debated about actually adding those or how to add those, but didn't at this time. And this is mainly because this is really a first draft of actually trying to do Scorponok as a transformable thing. Because like if you saw the previous one I had from at the beginning, it's not really really that fanciful of a city design. And I'm sitting here playing with different basically I'm sitting here trying to figure out as I go. So actually I end up pausing a lot in this video, or actually when I was recording, because I was sitting there spending minutes, if not almost an hour, trying to figure out how do I want to do something. Because like I said, I am actually modifying Scorponok's design. And so this is one thing I thought about, is because he has the ramps on his feet, but it's like a very steep incline or decline because of the river. So I figure, why don't we extend the incline by actually having his leg open up, similar to how Metroplex, like I said, his leg opens up. But I wanted to make sure. And this right here, if I remember correctly, I think this is just the first, I think, draft I did. I went back and actually remade all these shapes. We're trying to figure out how I'm going to do everything. One of the things that helped was the fact that if you saw one of my previous video on merging, actually knowing that actually helped, because I was actually keep some of my lines cleaned up as I was going on. Now I did work against me later on when I was working on his actual torso from what I was wanting to do, but live and learn. And well, yeah, one of the things I wanted to do, yeah, if you remember my blades tutorial, how I made the joints, and I just went ahead and kind of was preparing for that. And most of this is really me just trying to get some of the stuff fairly close to what I want to do. Because like I said, I go back later on and I redo all this stuff, but this is just me playing around, trying to figure out how to get it kind of like the toy. Because like in the toy, on the upper leg, he does have that curved surface. And that's one of the things, like I said, I'm trying to do here is make it like the back of his leg. I think the back of his leg is a road. Give it a more of a road appearance by having things flip out. And this is like one of the things I had to do with him, was actually create different platforms. Like for the back of the knee, one thing I'm working on here is making the road piece to go over the back of the knee, so that you can actually drive over, because technically you wouldn't be able to drive over that hinge. Well, I know the toy you can kind of get away with, but I like blades. I'm trying to make it where everything seems like it would be a logical reality, or at least close enough to be believable as part of reality. And one thing I didn't go through is put all the hinges. I did put hinges in a bunch of areas, but like I said, this was the first draft, and like blades, I want to go back and do some more detailed work on blades, but I don't want all my time-lapse videos to be just me doing different things, although I may be using him for some future videos. Like I do want to create some cushion seats like you would find in a helicopter for him. I'm thinking about redoing his window, so I might do a glass tutorial. And I may use one. I got a couple other ones I had did roughs of the Autobots, so I might do them and then do tutorials off of them. Yeah, right here trying to figure out, before I copy the leg, I was trying to figure out the main portion of the body, so I know where to place the other leg on the other side of the waist. But quickly just trying to get some stuff in. One of the things about this I did have to remember was that a lot of times I had to keep going up and change like origin points for moving stuff around. And this is because actually creating something, even though I did do a few tutorials, I hadn't really sat down and created in quite a while on Blender. I think Blades was actually, well, I did do a few things for the Transformers room, but most of that wasn't actually creating shapes. Some of that was, I think, other than doing Rosania, I think most of it was just adding effects, like the audio, camera movement and stuff. But so I'm sitting here, I had to sit here and go back and look through some of my old videos. Like, okay, I've already forgotten how to do that because I've actually been doing other stuff and working with Blender. And the thing that puts me off in working with Blender, I know the time it will take for me to sit down and create something, and that's what kind of puts me off, because I know, like I said, with this thing, I paused multiple times while doing this, trying to figure out where the stuff was going. So that's one reason why you'll see some cuts, because I could easily spend probably about 3 or 5 hours just creating just the basic of a transformer kind of detail like I'm doing here. Now there was a few things I really wasn't quite 1% sure what I wanted to do with the chest area, but I figure for right now I'll at least have like 2 platforms that fold out to kind of give like a little road going up to like whatever the main building would be in the center. Because in a lot of on both figures, his shield becomes like a central tower. Now in the War for Cybertron, I've copied his chest thing where it goes up so that it'd be like the back side of the building, whereas the G1, the chest plate actually becomes part of the road, and so I kind of split the difference between the two. Now there was a couple things I did later on that I after doing it, I thought of some other ways I could get it done, like how to do the legs, because if you know, the legs fold up and become the Scorpion's lower half of the body right before you get to the tail. And one of the issues with that, the G1 toy, was the legs only bent one way, which was not the normal way for walking. And so I came up with one solution, and I thought of another solution I could have done. I could have just rotated the waist and just used the natural bend of the leg. And this was me trying to figure out how to do the claws. And one reason I didn't realize till after I had done it, like why it's going to be, is I still had the thing turned on where it merged stuff within a certain distance, and I didn't feel like turning it back. And I realized that throughout the thing, I just didn't feel like turning it on and off. I like keeping it on and just do things kind of separate. Oh yeah, right here, one of the things I want to do for the arm is, because you know how in both the G1 and the War for Cybertron, they have the parts of the legs that break, that snap off the side of the leg and become part of the tower. I want to incorporate that into the actual claw where it just folds out in tower. And actually I wanted to use the piece that would normally snap on the leg, as we can work down here, to come up like, be like a little mini tower on the side of the road. Because in the G1, part of his guns become the back part of the leg, like some sort of like industrial pieces of either like a skyscraper or smokestacks or something. And I haven't played around with the idea, even though I just recently, at the end, you'll see him in the Scorpion mode. I haven't played around. I thought about actually doing a silver piece like he has but on each side, like that way they all both fold up, or do something on the other side that rolls up to be like a tower. Because I was trying to make him as not as parts forming as the G1. I'm trying to incorporate as much of it in the actual design and transformation. I mean, it was kind of cool in the G1 how the parts would fly around, and that's kind of a unique sci-fi, almost fantasy-like ability for the parts to the individual. Oh yeah, and I had fun trying to figure out how to create the tail. To create the thing is, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to create the tail by combining a ramp with the ability to be bent for the tail, and this was just at least a rough idea. I did something different for the next one, and I'm still not 100% sure how I want to do. To actually make a tail that can be a feasible ramp and tail is going to probably require a lot of hinges and the ability to lock in place. Oh yeah, if you remember Blades, well, this is Blades but with Moon Heart's color, and I brought, well, let's say Moon Heart. This is basically, if she was just a repaint of G1 Blades, but I brought her in because I wanted to kind of do a little scaling, especially later on, so I kind of scaled her to be about the size. And I played around, and this is right here what I ended up doing, going out and measuring the road in front of my house to kind of get an idea how big to make the actual roadway, if it was just a two-way street. And I wanted it to be like a two-way street because like I said, I wanted him to be close to seaside. Now I doing this based on say like if Optimus Prime was, or Bumblebee or a regular vehicle drive up and down, so this will be more of a city compared to a human than the actual Transformer. Now if I was to design him to be an actual city where a Transformer can walk inside, he's going to be really big, and I might end up doing that. I might scale him to that size just to kind of get an idea of what the actual comparison would be, because in the G1 series, and both I believe in the American and Japanese, because he was in the Japanese Headmaster series, the Decepticons could actually walk around inside of him like Trypticons, so those would be some pretty big cities, and I may end up scaling him up at some point to see how that would look, because you don't really get that scale, or at least it don't appear in the G1 series. I can't remember the Headmaster, but it's so long since I've watched only some of the Headmasters. I didn't really watch all of them until I got on DVD, and the main reason is because it's all subtitles, and sitting there having to read everything, not something you really can binge watch. I did a little better job on Super God Master Force. Now the one thing I would say about the Headmaster series of the Japanese I like better than the origin of the Headmasters in the American is I do like the idea of the Headmasters actually being Cybertronian, but they're like a smaller one that had to build larger bodies. Because some of the stuff, I know it was a gimmicky toy thing, but like in the G1 just didn't come across like ones like RC. Now I'm not knocking down the thing about RC and Daniel being close and see like a mother figure to him, but the thing is like Daniel separates from RC. Well, he's a vehicle, and it's not like was it Hardhead? I'm trying to remember the Green Tank, Highbrow, and some of the other ones where they were battle vehicles, so they could fight. RC really just became she really couldn't fight. She's just more of a stunt vehicle just to get in the way because of and so for me that didn't work out. I know why they kind of, well, I have an idea. I don't know really why they kind of did it, because they never came out with an RC toy. Although it's not like I'm saying like RC as in the race cars that you buy for the batteries in remote control. No, yeah, we didn't really get a G1 RC for I think a long time. We did get some versions now. We did get one in Energon. If you found out that the little scooter, I'm trying to look at the scooter's name, the Minicon scooter, if I remember correctly, the Japanese name for that character was RC. I think they did do one for the Beast Wars. I think it was a recolor of one of the other characters. But yeah, as far as a character that was actually named RC, I think the scooter was the first one in the Japanese toy line. I can't remember the scooter from Armada. It's Armada. Transformers Armada. Can't remember the scooter's name. But I think the actual real first American one was the motorcycle from Energon, which I think the actual Japanese name for that one was Ariel. So it was interesting how in Japan the scooter was RC, but they renamed it something else in America, and in the motorcycle was Ariel, which I think was Elita 1's original name, but they renamed it RC in the American version. I think that's part of it probably had to do with trademark. There's like a time frame on the trademarks. I'm trying to remember all this stuff. I've watched these videos on YouTube on the history of some characters, and there's one he does like a bunch of history. Oh yeah, this is why I'm remaking the stuff. As you can see, there was some other stuff I was wanting to do with the hinge gear, but I really didn't get around to doing it because I really got to change a setting. And this is me remembering how to do some of the stuff from the old Blades thing of joining the cylinders to the cube. And oh yeah, having it where it automatically merges with certain points came in real handy now when making these holes in this thing. Yeah, this is really exciting. But I'll tell you one thing. The more you kind of learn some of the shortcuts, and I'm kind of a little cheating trying to just merge all the stuff this way. I don't know if this was faster than doing it the previous way, but I just like it made it easier. You had to go in and line everything up because I thought I had this stuff pretty well lined up, but I apparently didn't. And see, that's the thing. I gotta go through and make a hinge. I gotta make a hinge for the toe. Gotta make the hinge for the back of the leg. I gotta make all sorts of hinges. So I haven't really gotten into doing some of that stuff yet. This is me trying to create the toe, and I'm basing it off of the War of Cybertron's transformation of his toes. I was debating whether to use the War for Cybertron or the G1. The G1 folds up into the bottom of the foot, and I may end up going back and using that one. I'm not 100% sure yet, because to be honest, this toe setting. And I haven't stood him up in robot mode, so I don't know if this toe setting is really long enough. Because I do, like I said, I'm trying to make this kind of as close to being plausible realistic. And you do need to have a long enough toe for balance. Or toes, I should say. Well, a toe in this case for him is single unit. And he's got a cloven hoof, but he don't chew the cud, so he ain't clean meat. Those who know biblical dietary law know what I'm talking about. I don't think you want to eat metal anyway. We're not Grimlock or Shotguns. Yeah, one thing, I probably could have gone back and just actually joined some of these, but I'd rather have created stuff all new from scratch. Oh yeah, now here, this is what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm trying to make this is part of the knee joint, but what I'm designing is for the knee to come out and having the secondary bend for the scorpion body, like he did. Because like I said, in the original G1, they did it and the knee only bends one way and does not bend like a knee's supposed to because of the transformation. The War for Cybertron used a double jointed knee, Well, I didn't want him to have a double joint knee in robot mode, and don't really need a knee in C mode, and I could probably have gotten away with doing something else now that I think about it. But no, I decided to have actually a pull out joint for the transformation to Scorpion mode. Yeah, I'm making things a far more complicated than I probably needed to make it, but and that's the mechanical side. I did take I was looking at taking architect back in high school at an architect style, something similar to like Blender, because I remember they had like a 3D model of the space shuttle, but it was something, maybe it's mechanical engineering at the vocational center, and I accidentally signed up for graphic design, stayed with it, because it really wasn't too much different, because they both fall within the design field. I say that, and then somebody's going, oh no, there's a big difference. Oh, there kind of is. You do a lot of measuring, a lot of layout, a lot of planning in both. It's just what your subject matter may be different. And I, from when our church was on Main Street, I had designed a booth for the video and computer section because it was in the storefront. I found it, and the guy who was the resident builder of our church, I had handed to, and he said I missed my calling as an architect. But good thing for most of you who are like me, you can still be an architect without spending all those years in college, and I think there's an apprenticeship that follows. You can be an video game architect or an anime architect or something like this, where you sitting in Blender and you are building structure, so you can still be an architect without having to go through all that schooling. And I would recommend taking some form of, whether you get books or you take some classes or watch YouTube on some of the different art styles of architect, because one of the things you will learn is some of the, and like you got Victorian architect, you got Gothic, you got modern, postmodern, working with glass, steel, there's different stuff. Then you may have to do some concept drawings, and it may be best to do some concept drawings where they are kind of close to being realistic, so it'll be less work in the long run. And yeah, sitting here working on the Scorpion legs. I have not really decided what I want to do with them. I know some have them kind of placed like where they're bent, and others you can kind of lay out, and right now I just leave them lay out because one, I haven't parented them together yet, which I might end up doing a video on. I might do a video on how to parent using some of the stuff. Oh yeah, my flip faces, or flip whatever the other term was, I can call it faces, I can't remember. Because that was one of the things that was messing up some of my extrusions, is the face wasn't flipped the correct direction, and it's because of how I end up making some of these pieces. And simple duplicate just makes everything so much easier. Yeah, I meant to have the back and the middle piece two separate, and I ended up actually welding together, merging them together. Well, not two separate pieces, but I was going to do some design work slightly different, but of me forgetting I had my merge points, vertices? Points, or whatever, on, it kind of messed that part up, because one reason I was doing it like this. I think I kind of realized that when I was making some of this. You move the back all the way down because he's got to be laying on his back. Now there probably something you could probably have done similar with. That'd been interesting to copy Metroplex design and using the legs for the tower and the arms for the roads. I don't know if I'll do that or not, but that is one theory on how to go about doing Scorponok's city mode. there, when I go to parent the legs get, I'll probably play around with some of the different positions to see how I would really want to do them for the city. You could probably have a couple of them up that'd be like mini towers, and if he's large enough, I kind of look and see compared to human size, would they be a tower enough for have offices in? Now, if he was the size of where these Decepticons could actually walk inside, yeah, here's where the stuff gets messed up me. But no, office size, you definitely could probably make some human office size in the legs. Although they could probably double as antennas for the communication antennas for the city. At least some of them. No, kind of looking at this now, I probably should have moved the legs to the proper position of the body instead of trying to move the thing, but join everything together and just slide it over so everything merges. Although all the points were lined up, so I had to go through and align a few of the other points up. Oh yeah, this is why I was looking at making the other ramp for the chest piece, because like I said, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. Because the shield, now one thing I thought about later on is, and I really haven't decided yet how I'm going to do actual Scorponok's head, because I do like to see the War for Cybertron one where the head is a headmaster as well. Kind of like Cerebros, they kind of got it like that. And so I thought about, now it would be cool. Now the War for Cybertron stores the head, the scorpion head, in the chest. I was trying to think, and it may be depending upon how to design the actual if I'm going to design it, is whether how I can probably utilize, but making it part of the central tower and then attaching the shield to the top of the head to extend it even as a taller tower. That is one idea I thought about. And like I said, with the arms, I wanted them to have a fold-out piece, so it makes it like, so instead I had to take the piece off the leg and attach the arm to make the tower. Now the War for Cybertron uses the guns as part of the tower, and then it gives an interesting look. But I mean, a city mode, you would think, I've got to flip another face. In the city mode, I kind of actually want to be able to place the gun. I haven't created none of the weaponry or any of the other accessories other than a crude version of the shield later on. But I did want to fix it where you could probably have his gun still attached to certain parts, just to the shoulder pieces of his arms, so they can still be usable as the city, kind of like how about most of the other cities have weaponry. I don't know, does Triptychon have weaponry? I know, well, we know Metroplex does. You can kind of have different weaponry. It's not 6-shot, but it's the one that's made with 6 guns that becomes a robot. I have not fully to figure out how I want to do the claws, so I kind of did a basic of, and was this the War for Cybertron claw I think I was basing it off of? I think it was. I think I was basing it off the War Cybertron claw. Yeah, I did, because I thought it would be pretty good, because the way it was designed, it'll make a good back panel that could fold out into part of the tower. And like I said, I probably end up going back at a later date and working on Scorponok some more. But I know this is at least to get a kind of a rough idea, because there's, like I said, there's some bunch of hinges I kind of need to add, and it's going to take me parts of hours to sit down and contemplate and play around with each thing. Yeah, the bridge tool. I'm kind of glad I learned that tool, because it does come in handy. Now there's one thing I need to learn later on. It's something to do with the coloring. It's like if I copy a shape and if I color the first shape, the second shape will take on the color. Sometimes it won't. I need to figure out how to turn that on and off, or how to utilize that, because like when I go later on to color this thing, some of it works and like some of the things copy. I don't know if it's, I do want to test. I need to test and see if it's depending upon whether if they're on the same layer or separate layers. Because they try to keep things a little organized, and to find stuff, I try to put like right leg in its own folder, left leg in its own folder, and both under a folder of leg. Now, one of the things I wanted to do, and they kind of did with both, is they had the tail where it kind of folds out. Oh, right now I'm actually making the actual ramp part of the tail. I'm just sitting there trying to get it to bend a certain way. I not necessarily wanted to bend the way I wanted it to bend. I thought there was a custom feature, but I could be a mistake. I have to go back and re-look at some of my videos. Oh yeah, it was the bevel. It had the custom. I wish there was a way where you could have on the bridge tool where you could go in and actually draw out the shape you want made. Yeah, I want to make sure the base was about the width of originally. I want to make sure it's like the width of the side, so it'd be kind of at least a 2-lane road going in, even though it may widen out up at the top. Now, one reason what I'm doing here is I'm actually wanting to do a ramp that folds down for the vehicles, but folds up and the tail fold out. Because I think they did it on War for Cybertron or something like that, a little ramp, and I thought that was something cool to do. Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to do the rest of the tail, because I want to give it a slight bend. Yeah, like I said, I couldn't get the bends to do the way I wanted, so I think I just did the bridge to bend the way I want. So what I ended up doing is I just did a bridge, and I just kind of did one loop cut or something to kind of give it that bend look. Now we gotta put the stinger cannon on the end of the tail, and it's just amazing. I just recopy and use a lot of the hinges, the same hinge joint for a lot of stuff. And I kind of gotta look like the hinge kind of going in the thing. And I know this ain't the most elegant design for a laser gun, but it's just to get the point across as I make it into a point. Yeah, I really couldn't decide. Yeah, here's where I'm starting to color. Like I said, it might be because I got the stuff divided in their own folders. There's a reason why. I need to go back and play around with that some more. Oh, and Scorponok suffers from classic villain color scheme. If you know classic comic books, they always would, or most of the time, they would put the heroes in primary colors and the villains in secondary colors. And I want to say it's Tritera. That's when you use all three colors on the color wheel. But yeah, he suffers some secondary villain color of green, orange, and purple. But we still love him for it. Yeah, I think this is what I'm getting right here. That's when you're gonna make the shield for the tower. I took a break from creating to do coloring because it gets taxing at times, and plus you kind of want to see what it looks like. And there's some stuff I'm going to show once we get done with the time-lapse video. We're gonna go live to the Scorponok city. Dun, dun, dun. Gotta do those. And for the shield, I'm just doing something quick and simple and easy because for right now, I still haven't fully decided what I'm going to do, if I'm going to leave this or if I want to use the head. And the head, I just did it real simple because like I said, I have not decided that exactly. I like the war from Cybertron, copying the Metroplex, not Metroplex, Fortress Maximus. But I haven't quite decided, and I kind of have to probably go watch Touch Toys video some more to see how they did it. But I just basically right now just creating a simple scorpion hair just to have something there. But I do like the idea, but I have to play around with some of the design to probably make it work. If I was going to use the shield with the head, I may have to make the head larger, in which case, now this being a human size city for humans, the head for the headmaster will probably, you might could pull off being human size. I think was it Nebulans was the G1 aliens, I can't remember. And so that'll make the head actually kind of almost, well, it may be, I think it was actually based on what I'm seeing here is that the head may actually be a lot bigger, so it might be actual transformer size and the head would be a giant. But that's the end of that video. Let's switch on over to the live view. Let me get some stuff out of the way because there's some stuff I want to cover live. So yes, we have the actual Scorponok. But guess what? We also have Black Zarok. That's right. I now have two Decepticon cities. We have Black Zarok and Scorponok side by side. He's from the Japanese line, and I can't remember. Was he actually the one in the Headmasters? Or did he come in Godmasters? I can't remember. I do know he makes an appearance in Zone. And you want to talk about size issue? Yeah, you thought about season 3 of Transformers had issues with size proportions of the figures. They have Black Zarok, which is a new color of Scorponok, the same size, and Triptychon, the same size as Predaking and Devastator and all of them. So G1, season 3 of G1 wasn't the only one to suffer for not keeping things proportional in size. But we don't have just that. Let's go ahead and bring Moonheart in. There we go, we got Moonheart. So you kind of see the size that Scorponok would be and Black Zarok would be if you had a helicopter land, which looks slightly smaller than the it's not full tilt. Well, full tilt's about the same size as the vehicle that comes with Scorponok G1. So she's slightly smaller, so you kind of get an idea how big he is. But wait, let me switch some stuff over right quick. I need to get rid of the view wireframe, get rid of that right quick, because if I don't, what I'm getting ready to show is going to actually be kind of a mess. Oops, come on. Turn everything on. I have, for some reason, if I don't have all the different legs, I'll be one hid. But yeah, there is me. I'm on Scorponok. I'm visiting Decepticon City. Just don't tell the Autobots. So now you can kind of see how Scorponok would compare to a human. And now that I look at it, you could almost, they would be very tight towers. But when you compare the legs to the size of me, and I kind of split the difference. I think I did my figure, and it's probably counting the ears at 5 feet 8 inches. So I kind of split the difference between 5'5" and 6 foot when I imported my character in. But yeah, oh yeah, let me show you what I was talking about earlier with the wireframe. Get back over here. Get back in, bring the wireframe. Yeah, you really couldn't see nothing with my face or anything in the wireframe. But yeah, now we have Scorponok City, and it's got a resident. It's got Moonheart at least on there, and me visiting. So you can probably imagine how big he would be in order for Moonheart to walk around inside of him. And I might end up doing that. But yeah, it's kind of it was kind of fun. Like I said, there's some more work I need to do, and as I get better at Blender, I'll probably be coming back like I will with Blade and updating him. But at least he's not alone. He's got Black Zarok and Moonheart and me on vacation. And we got one more thing to show. And the last thing to show is him in Scorpion mode. Yeah, I'm not really done too much with the thing. I just kind of folded him up a bit. There's still, like I said, I still got to create the hinges for the hip to go connect the legs to the waist, the crotch area. I do kind of also need to create a pivot for the waist so he can turn. But yeah, you kind of can see how he would look in Scorpion mode, how it turned out. Well, that's pretty much the time-lapse video of me doing Scorponok. I hope y'all enjoyed it and give y'all some ideas. If you like my content, please like and subscribe if you want to help support the channel, and share it with anyone you think might find this interesting. Have a nice day.
Yeah.